Devon Marsh prided himself on three things: his ability to navigate the Outer Rim blindfolded, his undefeated record at station poker tournaments, and most importantly, his solitude. His cargo hauler, affectionately named Rusty Nail, wasn't much to look at, but it was his, free and clear. No partners, no crew, no complications, which made his current situation all the more aggravating. "You're certain he's compatible?" Melodic voice asked, somewhere beyond his pounding headache. "The biorhythm analysis is conclusive," replied another. Voice, similar, but cooler, more analytical. "Though I question the ship's judgment." Devon forced his eyes open, immediately regretting it, as soft purple light sent daggers through his retinas. He was lying on something that felt disturbingly like breathing upholstery. The surface beneath him gently pulsed, conforming to his body with unsettling precision. "He's awake," said the first voice. Devon sat up slowly, blinking against the ambient glow that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves, walls that curved organically, lined with what appeared to be bioluminescent veins. Nothing about this room resembled the utilitarian spacecraft interiors he was accustomed to. This was all flowing contours and living tissue. Standing before him were two women identical in their alienness, tall and willowy with skin the color of twilight, shimmering with subtle iridescence. Their hair floated around their heads like dark smoke, occasionally forming deliberate patterns before dissipating again. Their eyes large, entirely black save for pinpricks of white light studied him with unnerving intensity. "Where's my ship?" Devon managed, his voice rough. The one on the left tilted her head. "Your vessel was critically damaged by the quantum eddy. We extracted you before structural failure. Rusty's gone?" A cold weight settled in Devon's stomach. "Your primitive transport has been absorbed for materials," said the one on the right, her tone suggesting this should be obvious. Devon lurched to his feet, immediately dizzy. "You had no right." "I am Nisa," interrupted the left one, extending a slender hand in what appeared to be a placating gesture. "This is my sister Thea. You are aboard the Astral Bloom, a Meridian vessel." "Congratulations," Thea added dryly. "Been selected." Devon backed away until he felt the wall behind him warm and slightly yielding. Selected for what, exactly? A small orb detached from the ceiling and floated down between them, projecting a holographic symbol that resembled interlocking crescents. "Harmonic convergence," Nissa said, her expression brightening. "A ritual of profound significance to our people." "I'm not interested in alien rituals," Devon said firmly. "Just drop me at the nearest outpost and we'll call it even." Thea made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Convergence is already initiated. The ship recognized your unique bioenergetic pattern as complementary to ours." "Complementary?" Devon repeated, not liking the implications. The room hummed in response, and suddenly a liquid-like substance formed in midair, coalescing into a cup that gently floated toward him. "The ship has prepared a welcome elixir," Nissa explained. "Will help ease your transition." "Transition to what?" Devon demanded, ignoring the hovering cup. "To us," Thea said simply. The floor beneath Devon suddenly shifted, forming itself into a seat that rose up behind his knees, effectively forcing him to sit. The cup followed, persistent in its offering. "The convergence occurs once in a meridian's lifetime," Nissa explained, sitting cross-legged on a similar formation that the floor had created for her. "It is a sacred joining of compatible beings." "Joining," Devon echoed, alarm bells ringing in his mind. "Look, I appreciate the rescue, but I'm not joining anything or anyone." "Resistant," Thea observed to her sister. "It's expected from a solitary species." "The process cannot be reversed," Nissa said gently. "The ship has already synchronized with your biological signature." As if to emphasize her point, the lights pulsed in time with Devon's heartbeat. "This is kidnapping," he protested. "This is destiny," Nissa countered with absolute conviction. Devon stood again, searching for a door, an exit. Anything but the room had no visible seams. The cup hovered insistently at chest level. "Phase 1 begins in 12 microcycles," announced a disembodied voice, soft and androgynous. "Please prepare for resonance calibration." "What happens in Phase 1? Devon asked. resigned to at least gathering information before his escape attempt. Nisa smiled, her eyes twinkling like distant stars. We begin to know each other, Devin. Marsh truly know each other. Implications hung in the air between them, as tangible as the floating cup that continued to wait patiently for his acceptance. Devin stared at the cup, which had begun to emit a soft, encouraging hum. I don't drink mysterious liquids from strangers, he said, crossing his arms. Spacer's rule number 1. It's merely a neural harmonizer, Nisa explained, taking a similar cup that materialized before her. It attunes your consciousness to the ship's biorhythms. Less headaches that way, Thea added, already drinking from her own cup. Unless you prefer the migraine version of integration. Devin weighed his options. He was trapped on a living ship with twin aliens, who seemed determined to involve him in some mystical bonding ritual. His own vessel was gone. For now, playing along might be his best strategy. He reluctantly accepted the cup. The liquid inside shimmered like liquid starlight, changing colors as he tilted it. He took a tentative sip. Immediately his senses heightened. The pulsing walls gained depth and meaning. He could almost understand their patterns. The humming of the ship became a melody, complex and mathematical. Whoa, he breathed. Phase 1 integration successful, announced the ship, proceeding to resonance chamber. A section of wall peeled away, revealing a corridor that hadn't existed moments before. After you, Nissa gestured with a graceful motion. Devin followed the corridor, hyper-aware of the twins behind him. The floor rippled slightly beneath his feet, adjusting to his gait. They entered a vast spherical chamber where the walls were transparent, offering a breathtaking view of space's swirling nebula, cast everything in emerald and sapphire light. The resonance chamber, Thea said, her usual coolness softened by evident pride. The heart of any meridian vessel. In the center floated 3 orbs, each about the size of a human head, glowing with inner light. These are attunement spheres, Nisa explained. They read emotional patterns and translate them into sensory experiences. What for? Devin asked, circling the floating orbs cautiously. To accelerate understanding, Thea said. Meridians believe true connection requires more than words. Please select your attunement sphere, the ship prompted. Devin hesitated, then pointed to the one with a slight bluish tint. It immediately floated toward him. Hold it, Nissa instructed, demonstrating with her own sphere. When Devin cupped the orb in his palms, it warmed, then began to pulse with his heartbeat. Images flickered across its surface fragments of his memories, feelings, and thoughts. It's reading me, he said, unnerved. It's reflecting you, Thea corrected. Your essence. The 3 spheres suddenly rose higher, forming a triangle. Beams of light connected them, creating a network of illuminated threads. Initial resonance established, the ship announced, beginning harmonic calibration. The room darkened. Only the spheres and their connecting lights remained visible. Then music began, not heard but felt, vibrating through Devin's body. What's happening? He whispered. The first dance, Nisa replied, her voice dreamy. Our patterns learning each other. Devin's sphere pulsed brighter, projecting images around them as childhood on the Mars colonies. His first solo flight. Moments of triumph and loneliness among the stars. Beside his memories appeared Nisa's growing up on a world of perpetual twilight. Learning to commune with living technology. Sacred importance of the convergence. Thea's sphere revealed her military training, her protective instincts toward her sister, her initial distrust of outsiders. This is ... Devin struggled to find words. Intimate? Nissa suggested. Invasive? He countered. Thea actually smiled. Truth often is. The images accelerated, blending together until Devin could no longer distinguish his memories from theirs. The sensation was disorienting, yet strangely exhilarating. When the lights finally returned, Devin found himself breathless. The twins appeared equally affected, their skin glowing more intensely. Phase 1 complete, the ship announced. Harmony level promising. Compatibility probability, 78.3%. That's high, Nissa said, looking at Devin with new interest. Statistical anomaly, Thea muttered, though she seemed less hostile than before. Devin set his sphere down, feeling strangely naked. So what now? Nissa said, approaching him with fluid grace. We prepare for phase 2, the physical attunement. Devin stepped back. I don't remember agreeing to any physical anything. Not that kind of physical, Thea said with exasperation. The body must learn trust before deeper connections can form. A doorway appeared in the chamber wall, revealing what looked like a training room with a floor that shimmered, like liquid mercury. We dance, Nissa said simply. Or in your crude terminology, we spar. Devin's eyebrows shot up. You want to fight me? We want to move with you, Nissa corrected. The body speaks truths, the mind conceals. Devin glanced between the twins in the doorway, weighing his chances of overpowering them and somehow commandeering the living ship. Your thoughts are transparent, Thea said dryly. What? The ship would never permit such a hijacking. Again, we're stronger. Then we look, Nissa added with a smile that was both sweet and challenging. Devin sighed. Fine, let's dance. The training room floor responded to their movements, shifting from solid to semi-fluid and back again. Devin found himself struggling to maintain balance while the twins moved with natural grace, their bodies perfectly attuned to the ship's rhythms. You're fighting it, Nissa observed, as Devin stumbled again. Don't resist the flow. Easy for you to say? Devin grunted, regaining his footing. You grew up with living floors. Thea executed a perfect spinning kick that stopped just short of his face. The point isn't to master the environment, she said. It's to harmonize with it and with us. Devin dodged another of her movements, beginning to recognize patterns in the floor's shifts. He stopped trying to anticipate and instead responded to the moment. Gradually, his movements became more fluid. Better, Nissa encouraged, joining the dance with movements that complemented both Devin's and Thea's. Soon, the three were engaged. In something between combat and ballet, their bodies moving in coordinated sequences that felt increasingly natural. Devin found himself anticipating the twins' movements before they made them. Neural pathways aligning announced the ship preparing. For phase 3, the floor suddenly rose, forming a platform that elevated the three of them. The walls dissolved, revealing a star-filled void that made Devin dizzy with its vastness. What's happening now? He asked, breathless from exertion. Neural synchrony, Nissa explained as 3 reclined seats formed from the platform, the joining of minds. Devin tensed. That sounds permanent. All experience is permanent, Thea said, settling into her seat. It changes who you are. But this won't erase your identity, Nissa added quickly, noting his alarm. It simply ... expands it. Devin reluctantly sat. And if I refuse, process has already begun, Thea pointed out. Your neural patterns are already partially synchronized with the ship and with us. As if to prove her point, Devin realized he could feel the twins' emotions in Nissa's excitement. Thea's cautious curiosity. It wasn't mind-reading, more like emotional awareness beyond his normal senses. Thin, luminous tendrils extended from the seats, gently touching their temples. This might be intense, Nissa warned. Devin barely had time to brace himself before the universe exploded behind his eyes. He was Nissa, growing up with a profound connection to living technology, feeling ships as extensions of herself. He was Thea, forever vigilant, trained to protect their gentle society from cosmic threats. He was both of them experiencing the loss of their parents to a space anomaly. Their grief and determination to continue the family's exploration mission. And they were him, the orphaned Mars colonist who found freedom among the stars. The loneliness he never acknowledged. The yearning for connection he buried beneath sarcasm and self-sufficiency. When the visions faded, Devin found his face wet with tears. The twins looked equally shaken. You've been alone so long, Nissa whispered. You're stronger than you appear, Thea acknowledged, her voice unusually gentle. Devin struggled to sort through the emotional aftermath. Is it always this ... overwhelming? Unprecedented synchrony achieved, the ship announced. Compatibility probability, 94.7%. Nissa's eyes widened, That's the highest I've ever heard of. Even Thea looked impressed. Statistically improbable. Devin sat up, feeling strangely energized despite the emotional intensity. So what does that mean exactly? Before either could answer, the ship suddenly lurched. Warning lights pulsed throughout the chamber. Spatial anomaly detected, the ship announced. Similar to the quantum eddy that damaged the human's vessel. We need to get to the navigation chamber, Thea said, immediately alert as they hurried. Through corridors that formed before them and sealed behind them. Devin realized he now understood the ship's layout intuitively. The neural synchrony had connected him not just to the twins, but to the vessel itself. In the navigation chamber. Dome of translucent tissue showing the space around them, a swirling distortion was visible ahead. It's larger than the one that caught your ship, Nyssa said, placing her hands on a console that grew from the floor. And we're already being pulled toward it, Thea added, joining her sister. Devin felt a sudden certainty. I can help. The twins looked at him in surprise. I've navigated these before, he explained. It's not successfully, obviously, but I know their patterns. A third console formed, clearly intended for him. Show us, Nyssa said. Devin placed his hands on the console, feeling the ship's systems respond to his touch. The neural synchrony had given him an intuitive understanding of the vessel's capabilities. These quantum eddies aren't random, he explained. They have rhythms like cosmic heartbeats. He manipulated the controls, bringing up a visualization of energy patterns within the anomaly. There, see how it pulses. 673 pattern. If we time our approach to the counterpoint, Thea nodded, immediately grasping his strategy. We could ride the gravitational backwash instead of fighting it. Exactly, Devin confirmed. Like surfing a wave instead of swimming against it. Nysa's fingers danced across her console, recalibrating propulsion harmonics to match the pattern. The ship hummed as it adjusted its systems. Devin felt the changes as though they were happening within his own body, a strange sensation but not unpleasant. Ready on my mark, he said, watching the visualization. 3, ... 2, ... 1, ... now. The ship surged forward rather than retreating. Thea shot him an alarmed look, but Devin remained focused. Trust me, he said. They plunged toward the swirling anomaly. At the last possible moment, Devin gave a new command. Perpendicular thrust, 30-degree vector. The ship twisted, skimming the edge of the quantum eddy. Energy crackled around the hole, but instead of tearing them apart, it propelled them forward with tremendous speed. It's working, Nyssa exclaimed. Devin wasn't finished. One more maneuver. Thea's hands hovered over the controls. That's highly unorthodox. So am I, Devin replied with a grin. Now, the ship shuddered as its systems reconfigured. For a moment, it felt like they were falling in all directions simultaneously. Then, they shot clear of the anomaly, sailing into calm space with velocity to spare. Quantum eddy successfully navigated, the ship announced. Damage minimal. New flight capability patterns recorded. Devin exhaled slowly, the adrenaline ebbing from his system. He looked up to find both twins staring at him with new appreciation. That was ... double quotes. Thea seemed at a loss for words. Brilliant, Nyssa finished. You understood the ship's capabilities better than we did. I understood the anomaly, Devin corrected. You understood the ship. Together we made it work. A moment of silence passed between them, the implications hanging in. The air. Phase 4 initiating, the ship suddenly announced. Emotional integration. The navigation chamber transformed around them. The consoles receded into the floor, and cushioned seating formed a circle. The lighting dimmed to a soft twilight glow, and something like incense filled the air ascent. That reminded Devin of thunderstorms and cinnamon. What's emotional integration? Devin asked, though after the neural synchrony, he wasn't sure he wanted to know. The sharing of feelings too complex for neural pathways alone, Nyssa explained, settling into one of the seats. The truth beneath the thoughts, Thea added. Looking uncharacteristically vulnerable as she took her place, Devin hesitated. Haven't we done enough sharing for one day? The convergence builds in intensity, Nisa said. Each phase deepens the connection. Devon reluctantly joined them in the circle. And how many phases are there altogether? 5, both sisters answered. A soft mist rose from the floor, enveloping them. Devon felt a strange calm descend, his usual defenses melting away. Just let it come, Nisa encouraged gently. What came was overwhelming, not memories this time, but pure emotion. Devon felt Nisa's growing affection for him, her hope and wonder. He experienced Thea's reluctant respect, her protective concern for her sister, her gradual acceptance of him, and they, in turn, felt his emotions, his fear of connection warring. With his desperate loneliness, his growing attraction to Nisa, his grudging admiration for Thea's strength, nothing was hidden, nothing could be hidden. When the mist cleared, Devon found himself trembling. Nisa moved to sit beside him, taking his hand. To his surprise, Thea joined them, placing her hand atop theirs. I've never experienced a connection this profound, Nisa confessed. Nor I, Thea admitted. It defies statistical prediction. Devon looked at their joined hands. What happens after the 5th phase? A choice, Nisa said softly. For all of us. The convergence doesn't force permanent bonding, Thea explained. It reveals compatibility, but the final decision remains with the participants. And if I choose to leave? Devon asked. Then we would honor that choice, Nisa said, though he could feel her sadness at the thought. Though it would be illogical after such proven harmony, Thea added, with something almost like humor. Devon felt something he hadn't experienced in years, a sense of belonging. The thought of returning to his solitary existence suddenly seemed hollow. Final phase will commence after rest cycle, the ship announced. As if on cue, Devon felt exhaustion wash over him. The emotional integration had taken more out of him than he realized. Come, Nisa said, leading him to a chamber where 3 sleep platforms awaited. Tomorrow will bring clarity. As Devon drifted toward sleep, he wondered what choice he would make when the time came. Devon awoke to find the ship transformed. Gone were the pulsing purples and blues, replaced by warm golden light that reminded him of sunrise. The living walls seemed to breathe more deeply, more contentedly. Nisa entered, her movement graceful, as ever but with a new eagerness. You're awake. Good. Where's Thea? Devon asked, surprised to find he missed her sardonic presence. Preparing the culmination chamber, Nisa replied. The final phase approaches. Devon sat up, noticing his body felt different, lighter, more energized. I feel strange. The ship has been adjusting your physiology, Nisa explained. Nothing fundamental, just optimizing your natural systems. Should I be concerned about that? Nisa smiled. Only if improved cellular efficiency concerns you. Devon stood, stretching. So what exactly happens in this final phase? The convergence reaches its conclusion, she said. The ultimate harmony is tested. That's wonderfully vague, Devon remarked. Nisa approached him, her expression turning serious. Devon, before we proceed, I want you to know something. The choice at the end is truly yours. There is no right answer, but you have a preference, he guessed. She nodded. I do. I've never felt a connection like ours. But Thea and I will respect whatever you decide. Devon caught her hand. And what about Thea? Where does she fit in all this? Meridian bonds are complex, Nisa explained. Thea and I are twins already connected in ways you can't imagine. Any bond that includes me would include her, though not necessarily in the same way. That's complicated. Life is complicated, she countered. Convergence simply acknowledges that truth. A gentle chime sounded throughout the ship. Time, Nisa said. They walked through corridors that seemed to bow slightly as they passed, as if the ship itself was showing respect. They entered a vast chamber, unlike any Devon had seen before. The culmination chamber was a perfect sphere, its walls transparent, showing the cosmos in all directions. At the center floated a platform ringed with softly glowing crystals. Thea was already there, dressed in ceremonial attire that shimmered with embedded lights. The Wanderer arrives, she said formally, though her eyes held unexpected warmth. Final phase commencing, announced the ship. Convergence culmination imminent. Devon stepped onto the platform beside the twins. Crystals brightened, emitting a harmonic tone that resonated through his body. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now we see the possibility," Nissa answered cryptically. The crystal's light intensified, enveloping the three of them in a cocoon of radiance. Within that light, Devon saw visions not of the past this time, but of potential futures. He saw himself remaining with Nissa and Thea, learning their ways, exploring the galaxy aboard the living ship. He saw the three of them facing cosmic wonders and dangers together, their unique combination of skills and perspectives making them formidable. He glimpsed moments of discovery, laughter, intimacy, and growth. Then the vision shifted. He saw himself returning to human space, using what he'd learned to revolutionize human technology. He saw success, acclaim, but also solitude the profound. Connection he'd experienced with the twins, impossible to replicate. When the light faded, Devon found himself trembling. "You've seen the paths," Thea said quietly. "The choice is yours," Nissa added. "Stay or go." There is no wrong answer. Devon looked between them, these alien women who now felt more familiar to him than any humans ever had. "If I stay, what would I be to you? To both of you, partner?" Nissa said immediately. "Allie," Thea said, then added more softly, "friend." And to the ship, as if in answer, the vessel hummed a tone that vibrated through Devon's chest, a feeling of acceptance and welcome. Devon thought of his life before then. Endless solitary halls, the brief and meaningless port connections, the emptiness he'd pretended was freedom. "I never had a home," he said finally. "Not a real one. Just places I passed through." Nissa's eyes shimmered with emotion. "She could have won now. I got to." "With complications," Thea added pragmatically. Devon laughed. "Life without complications isn't life at all." He stepped forward, taking Nissa's hand in his right and Thea's in his left. The ship's crystals pulsed in response, casting them in a glow that seemed to bind them together. "I choose to stay," Devon said. "I choose this whatever it becomes." Convergence complete, the ship announced, its tone almost joyful. New harmony established. Nissa embraced him first, her body fitting against his as if designed for it. After a moment's hesitation, Thea joined them, her usual reserve melting into acceptance. As the three stood together, surrounded by stars, Devon realized that what had begun as captivity had become something else entirely, a rescue of a different kind. Not just of his body from a doomed ship, but of his spirit from a life half-lived. The astral bloom accelerated gently into the cosmos, carrying its newly converged crew toward whatever adventures awaited. "So," Devon asked as they separated, "from the embrace, where do we go now?" Nissa smiled. "Everywhere. Eventually," Thea amended practically. The ship hummed in agreement as it charted a course into the unknown.